Hi, friends. Welcome to Behind the Experience podcast. My name is Francisco Opazo. I'm head of growth and ecosystem at Eventify, an end-to-end lifecycle event management platform for your conference, events, anything you want to do to build event experiences. On these episodes, I'm really pumped because we have a special guest named Liz Lathan. She's a co-founder and chief community officer at Club Ichi, a membership community that's redefining what it means to be a B2B event marketer. Before continue, I'm going to bring Liz on stage. Let me see. Liz, welcome.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
we can hear the
Francisco.
crowd.
So excited to be here.
Yes, I love your smile. I love your smile. Thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm going to continue with this because I love like pink chicks. So
Uh-oh.
Liz is also co-founder and CMO of the Community Factory, where she and her team help companies build deep connections through what they call spontaneous think tanks and the power in company method. Here's what I love about Liz's approach. She's not about generic conference experiences. She's about inflatable unicorns at 2:30 a.m. and creating spaces where real relationships happen. Through her work building communities and advising companies on their event strategies, she's got a unique view of what's actually working on B2B engagement right now. After that, let's do it.
Let's go.
Yes. So there are many things, and areas where we want to tap. I would say always, I will take advantage and pick your brain today. No, and the first area is regarding the B2B events landscape today. So
Yep.
through your work with Club Ichi and the Community Factory, you are seeing that B2B event marketers are dealing with day to day. What's the biggest shift you are observing in how companies are thinking about events and engagement? There is a shift. What is your POV on this?
Yeah, I mean I think that there is definitely a move toward micro events over mega events right now. And even if it is creating more micro events inside of the mega events, the B2B landscape is starting to catch up with the fact that humans just don't want to move like cattle anymore. They're really going to events much more for connection, especially with the opportunity to just consume content on any mode that you want all the time, everywhere. If I have to get on a plane and fly somewhere just to listen to a keynote that could have been a podcast, then there's no value in that to me. And it's been happening for years, but I think that the event organizers, especially in B2B, have been really slow to catch on to the needs of the attendees. And now they're starting to see that attendees just aren't coming back year over year. And so they're having to make that change. And now they're a little bit lost in trying to figure out how do you create engagement when they're not used to doing it. Engagement used to come from the stage, what they would call engagement, but now they're just not seeing it. So that's the biggest shift, is people trying to figure that out.
Oh, yeah, I love it. And what do you say these micro experiences? What is
Mm.
the number? Like, for instance, I don't know, from 20 people up to 100 or from 20 up to 150. What is in your mind when we talk about micro experiences for attendees?
I honestly, I think the number matters less than what the activity is. So if you're at a Dreamforce where there's what 60,000 people or something like that, having smaller gatherings of 100 people, at least breaks it down and gives you the opportunity to be a little bit more intimate, an intimate environment with those folks. That being said, if you've got a conference of 500 people, then putting people in rooms of 20 or 25 really lets them connect with other people. So I think it's scale and it's relative, and it's less about what number means micro event and more about how are you engaging them, what are they doing. So when we talk about engagement, everybody always comes to me and asks, how do I create more engagement at my events? Well, what do you want? There's cognitive, behavioral, and emotional engagement. So is your event intended to help people learn something? Cognitive engagement. Is it to make them do something? Behavioral engagement. Or is it to make them feel something? Is it a loyalty event, a hospitality event, so that they're more connected to your brand? So figuring out what kind of engagement you really want and then design that experience around it.
Would you say that there is a recommended balance, if we can measure that in percentage, about content, time to connect, time to just have unstructured chats when running a conference or an exhibition? Or what would you say is a healthy mix based on this idea of allowing the time for people to really connect? That is the main priority for us these days.
I think that's been the major shift that companies are having the hardest time getting to. It's that content is much more of a small percentage these days. And I think the problem is that content is what's driving people to sign up because they can get approval from their boss to travel. Oh, this person's speaking. Oh, these people are on stage. I'm going to hear from this person. But when they get there, they're not listening or paying attention. They're on their phone doing email. But what they really get the value from is meeting people in the coffee breaks, meeting people in the happy hours, actually doing stuff outside of the venue with small groups of people. But it's way harder to sell that to your boss in the content. So I think when it comes to marketing, you market the content. When it comes to actual event design, it should be closer to 50% of the time, really driving connection and getting people to talk to each other.
I love that. Do you think that this is like maybe out of context, but I feel that we are in this content topic right now. Do you think that are still valuable to bring, I don't know, like influencers or famous people to conferences? Not necessarily related to the industry that the event is serving? What is your feeling on this?
I, first of all, absolutely hate it when you spend $400,000 on a keynote speaker just so that you can have their name there, and then you don't compensate the people from your own industry to get up on stage and talk about things. That just drives me bonkers. I think that if you're on the main stage, you deserve compensation, whether you're famous or not. But as far as the big external, why are you bringing in a celebrity? I do think it has to tie to either the theme or the industry or the content, but it's those micro influencers that are much more impactful than, bringing a Hollywood actor and having them sit on stage. So I definitely prefer the ones that are going to be impactful and influential in your industry. Or if it's like a truly inspirational keynote speaker that's intended to set the theme, set the tone. Like if you have a sales conference, for example, then you might want that speaker that's, the Jerry Maguire coming in and show me the money kind of thing to get the sales team rallied up. And they can be non-industry specific, but they're going to be topic specific to really set that up for the rest of the week. So does that make sense?
Lots. I have seen in a few big events that kind of celebrity thing happening. I'm still wondering, like, really brings value for us? Or why? Probably like, that's why? That's the honest take. Yeah. Liz said it.
Okay. I mean, and I've done my fair share of hiring celebrities for events, and so it's really about the purpose of it. I did an event for one company I worked at where we hired Paul Rudd to come in and sign autographs, and the why for that was literally word of mouth. I mean, it was. He wasn't brought in to add strategic content, although he's a delightful, brilliant man who could have added a lot of strategic content, but we didn't hire him to be on the stage. We just hired him to be at the event. We had a superhero theme for the after party, and Ant-Man had just come out, and he was there to sign autographs and make the line really, really long and have people talk about this. And that was the point. So as long as you have that reason for, like, we work with the folks at Guru Media, and they had Nicole Kidman come on as a keynote speaker for their virtual conference not too long ago. And I was like, really, Nicole Kidman? And they were like, look, as long as it's a celebrity, all we really want out of this is eyeballs. It's less about the content. But then she turned out to be incredible, and people were like stayed for the whole thing because she actually truly was a brilliant speaker and had incredible things to say. So even better if you can actually get someone that can do both of those things.
Oh wow, that's exciting. That's great. I like it. Okay, let's move on. So now, building connections in B2B events. You have built your methodology around creating deep connections through your spontaneous think tanks and the powering company method.
Yeah.
I love the name, by the way.
Thanks.
What are the elements that actually make attendees feel connected versus just attending another event?
Right. Okay. So when you go to a normal event, you have your standard process. You go to registration first and you stand in line and you pick up your stuff, and then you look around to see if there's anyone else there that you know, and there isn't. And so then you just go in the corner and get on your phone and try to figure out what you're supposed to do next. And that was your entry moment. That was it. Terrible. First impression of the event, and that's what happened. Maybe it was even a frictionless sign-in. So you didn't even talk to a person. You just went and got your badge, and now you're even more alone. And then you're going to figure out like when the keynote starts. And so you're going to go into all these seats facing forward, listening to someone on stage. There is no moment of connection for that to happen. And then you get shuffled straight from the keynote into your breakout sessions, more sitting and getting and listening to somebody tell you things. Then you have the coffee break. Now is your opportunity to actually maybe meet some people, but you also need to run to the bathroom, actually get coffee and check your email. And they made it 15 minutes so that you can get right back into the content. So I think this whole thing sets you up for a lack of connection, and you have to work extra hard to connect with people or skip sessions in order to actually find people, which of course is not ideal for the whole purpose of the content or the conference in the first place. So we put together this construct that we call the 5 C's, and it's care, collaborate, co-create, converse, and connect. So the very first thing is care. When people walk into the event, they need to know that they're in the right place, that you care that they are there, and be actually greeted by a human. So the way that we do all of our events at Club Ichi is the person welcoming you welcomes you with a hug. It's, I am so glad you're here. And our name badges are first name only, so that you actually have to talk to people to find things out, not judge them on their lanyard color to see if they're worth talking to, but actually have conversations with people. And then we also have event wingmen who are there, standing there. If you're alone, they're going to come up to you and introduce you to someone else, or even strike up a conversation with you. Maybe you want to be left alone, that's fine, but they can help judge that, so that you never feel like you're there with no plan on what to navigate. So that's care, making sure that the people at the event care about the people coming to the event. The next one is collaborate. So what can you do that can get people doing something immediately that allows them to start to see who else is in the room? So instead of shuffling them into the keynote hall and just having them sit and listen to the one mega wonderful person that got invited to be on stage, we do what we call it's the beginnings of a spontaneous think tank. So we take these big, large sticky notes, 6x8 sticky notes, and we ask people to write a challenge that they're hoping to solve while they're there this week. And we fill it, we call it the wall of woes. It's all of the challenges that everybody has. And then even better than that is take a look at those challenges. And if you see one that someone else put up there that you've solved, add your name to it. And now people start to have folks they can look for. Oh my gosh, I'd love to talk to that person. Oh, who put this one up here? I'd like to connect with them. So this collaboration allows you to just give people a moment of activity and feel like they're now with their people. The next part from that is co-create. So for our spontaneous think tank, this is where we take all of those sticky notes and we start to put people together in groups. Like, oh, Bob has solved this problem. Bob, would you mind leading a conversation on how you solved that problem? And we actually create peer-to-peer sessions based on the wall of woes and who can solve those problems. So now they're co-creating the content together. The next one is converse, which is what this is all about. Let them talk to each other. It's not just the one person that submitted the case study that stands in the front of the room and pitches it to you. It's a small circle of people with that person who solved that problem, sharing how, and then opening it up for conversation. So now they're making real connections over real business challenges and solutions. And then finally, it's connect. Because so many people say, we're going to throw an event, people will connect, it'll be awesome. But you can't just jump to connect. I mean, you've all been to the happy hour where you walk in and there's cheese cubes and there's the bar and the music's too loud, and like you can't jump to it. You have to ease them in. But now once you've gone through all these things, people are talking to each other, they feel connected. So we have been told since we started doing these things in 2017 that it's kind of magical that over the course of 24 to 48 hours, these people leave feeling like they have a whole new family that they didn't even know existed before, because that connection is so real. So those are what I call my 5 C's to community, and that is the power in company.
I love that. So I have a few questions on this format. So all these 5 stages happen within the context of a day of conference or a day of exhibition, or this is a format for an event?
Honestly, you can spread it out over 5 days. You can put it into a 90-minute session. It's just a matter of making sure that all of these things are going to happen. If you have a traditional conference, maybe you work for a corporation or an association, and we always start with our keynote, and then we go to our breakouts, and then we go to our coffee break, and then we go to our panel discussion, and then we go to lunch. You know, these things that you can't change. Where are the moments that you can? So when it comes to the collaborate section, maybe you can add the sticky note wall as people are coming in. Maybe you can have a paparazzi moment as people come into the welcome and there's people taking pictures and there's a red carpet and it becomes fun. And now you've just got some event wingmen that are starting to get people kind of seeing and meeting each other. Maybe instead of just having the keynote that goes straight into a panel discussion, in between the keynote and the panel, you can pose a question to the audience and give them 5 minutes to try to solve it with each other to really bring home whatever that keynote was. So where can you interject these moments so that in the end they come out with connection?
I love that. I love that. I have run a format named, well, probably is touching a few of these 5 points. Is named Unconference.
Yes,
No,
it's based on Unconference, Open Conference. Yeah, all of those. That's exactly what it's based on. Yes.
yeah, I love that. Yes.
Mhm.
So I have seen like way more productive and valuable conversations in actually in the Unconference day. That is usually what we do to close the community week every week
Yes.
after the conference, because it's more like a deflate and you have a lot of time just to chat
Yeah.
and chat. Really, you live that and how you solve it, and then what we do is similar, no, like sticky notes, the whole wall full. Then
Yeah.
we just group them by topics. Then we do a round of shares and we get to solve the problems. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I was trying to connect the dots to see if it's kind of around that idea. I love that.
That's exactly right. I mean, we've done 2 events, actually, I would say 3 events over the course of the last month, where we had stuff, we had activities for people to do. We had games, we had pool tables, we had, all the things that people need in order to quote unquote connect. Nobody used any of them. They sat on couches with the 3 people that they'd started having conversations with and stayed up till 2 in the morning continuing those conversations. So it tells me that people are less interested in surface level engagement now, and they're really looking for people to sit down with and to actually have conversations with.
Yeah, I think that also AI is actually helping on that, because if you need like just like general information, you just ask ChatGPT and you get it. No,
Yeah.
but when you want someone that lived or went through your experience, so you get validation on your assumptions, your theories, your ideas.
Yes.
So thank you AI for enable community builders to shine. I think that is honestly is the best for us. Is the best for us. I love it. Then on the third section, we have this about return. No, the ROI question that nobody wants to ask. Also, I have seen the ROI, also RIE, regarding
ROE.
like investment in events and stuff. So let's talk about that. So something that event marketers struggle with is many times proving value.
Yep.
When you're working with B2B brands through the community factory, how do you help them connect their event and community efforts to actual business outcomes?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a few questions related, like what metrics or indicators actually matter when you
Yeah.
do this. Please.
Yeah. And again, it depends on the type of community that you're running, of course. There's communities of products, communities of practice, and communities of purpose. So, if you've got a community of purpose and it's a nonprofit and it's giving back, then one of your metrics might be number of donors, so that you are fundraising and you're giving it to the cause. Or it might be members of that organization doing advocacy. So it's number of signatures on a petition could be your actual metric. So it depends on why we're doing these things. If you are a straight up community that just exists for the purpose of the community existing, then again, your metric may be memberships and retention rates and total revenue, so that you can grow the team and grow the community. So figuring that part out matters the most. On the corporate side, where I came from, it was always tied to pipeline and revenue. Even if you're the community team, we want to make sure that that community exists to drive more business to the business, right? So it is to expand accounts. It is to create advocacy so that they're inviting their colleagues and friends to become customers too, and to grow the business. How do you tie it? That's a marketing operations conversation around creating campaigns and making sure that your community doesn't feel like they are the fish in the barrel that are being shot all the time. Hey, new offer. Hey, new offer. Hey, it's got to be about inviting them into opportunities. Will you give us feedback on this? You are the first beta users, and giving them those reasons to kind of amplify their own eminence within the community and feel better about your products, so that the relationships become stickier. So I think there's the ROI piece when it comes to looking for actual dollars that go with it. And then there's the ROE, return on emotion portion of it. So we actually did a research study a few years ago trying to figure out exactly which emotions need to be evoked at an event in order to drive business. And so it was less about how much business are you driving and more about how are you creating an experience that allows
Wow.
people to connect in that way. So
Love
our
it.
theory was that it was happiness, and that if you could create an event that made people happy, then you would drive business. And we were wrong. That was not it.
Ouch.
The answer was actually 5 emotions. And we use the acronym of HAAAM with 3 A's because we're like, emotions bring home the bacon. So the 5 emotions were hopeful, active, accepted, adventurous, and motivated. So if you can, any conference or event that you're creating is most likely going to have hope and motivation built in. It's the basis of marketing, the basis of persuasion. You want to give them a hope for a better tomorrow, for when they leave your event, they can either use their knowledge or their connections to make tomorrow better than today. And then motivation, you definitely want them to leave with an action. They're either going to get more involved in the community or go buy more product or go tell more people what they did. So those are the easy ones. It's the 3 A's that people have trouble with. So the accepted one is the one that blows my mind. People forget about it the most. Like I mentioned, that registration experience of where you walk in the front doors and you're like not greeted. You're told to get your badge and then figure out what the heck you're supposed to do on your own. Like make them feel accepted, make them feel like a part of it. And that starts from the moment of invitation, making sure that they know that you know that they know you, that you're going to feel like you're in the right place, to the moment that you show up on site, to the moment that you leave. Did you feel at the end like this was the place that you want to come back to? So something that will draw them back every year. The next one is active. So again, most conferences and events forget that people don't want to just come to a venue and sit. They want to be a part of something. Maybe they've gone to New Orleans for the first time and they want to like taste alligator. Maybe, I don't know, they want to go do things. So making sure that they feel like they're an active participant in whatever's happening. But then the one that almost nobody puts in there is adventure. Everyone wants to get a little bit out of their comfort zone, and they want to get out of their comfort zone but not be uncomfortable. And so that's the challenge. And it doesn't have to happen to everyone. It could be that they're watching someone do something. Like you've seen those the TV show Hot Ones, where people get interviewed and they're eating progressively hotter chicken wings. You know, you put that on the main stage and you have the CEO interviewing the Gartner analyst eating hotter and hotter chicken wings, and it's like you're in for the adventure of, can he answer this question, kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be that everyone in the audience is doing it. So but I think once you can create those, we found that if you ask the question on your post-event survey and give a scale of 1 to 10 of, after this event, do you feel more hopeless to hopeful, passive to active, and, you know, kind of do the scale, the metric of 8.6 of an average, 8.6 out of 10, showed that an environment was created that will drive business. You created those connections because people felt all 5 of those emotions, which allowed them to connect with each other in a meaningful way that made it profitable, which is a really cool metric. So, and also it just makes the events more fun. And so it turns out happiness maybe is the metric after all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have 2 ideas on this. One is I'm surprised about like this approach of being greeting people and welcoming them and feeling welcome, because I have seen like all these even like, you know, like the event technology is all about trying to make the all the badge experience almost like no humans involved.
No humans,
Right? It's like kind of this idea of welcoming is all contradicting all the kind of advance of the technology side of things. So
exactly.
how do you elaborate or pitch, you know, that the companies that like it's true, you want the budget sprints as easy as possible, but you need humans close to them to welcome them. How do you manage that beat? Because I feel that even like I attended a big exhibition last week, and the process was like there was no humans there, just one scanning the QR code when I was getting in, but no hello, nothing. So I'm curious, just
I think this is kind of the drum I've been beating lately, which is a return to hospitality. If you throw a dinner party, you don't normally just leave the front door open and let people just come in and figure out what to do. You know, someone rings the doorbell or knocks on the door and you open the door, and maybe you say, come on in, I'm cooking something. And they come into the kitchen and they put their stuff down. But there's that moment of just saying, welcome to my home. Like, we've forgotten hospitality in exchange for frictionless experiences. And I think that people are really craving that hospitality again.
And I love that. And the second one is like, how these 5 points, like how these 5 emotions, like to trigger them across the day.
Yeah.
How is your planning, or like your brain on the planning regarding the programming, like the content and the different activities to kind of first find time slots for enough time to trigger those across the day or during the day, all the days? And how is that impacting also the way you choose your speakers? Or I'm curious because like to like trigger those 5 emotions during the day or today's conference, I would say it's not that easy. So
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a conference agenda that maybe you've inherited year over year, and so you know that there's going to be a basic structure to it. So it's not like you have to rip that entire thing apart and start from scratch just to fit the emotions in. You know, you've got an opening keynote, and you probably have a closing keynote because that's how most conferences do it, right? So your opening keynote is going to be that one filled with hope, what you're going to experience this week and what you're going to leave with at the end of it. So that's easy, whether it's the CEO of the company or the community manager or the hired celebrity, whatever. And then the last one is going to be the motivation one, right? So now that you've had these couple days together, what are you going to leave and go do with this? So you know that you can book into that part really easily. The accepted part can be two things. So one, of course, it's that welcome moment of coming in, whether it's a welcome reception or the registration desk or whatever, but it can also be the environment that you're in. So I brought up New Orleans. Think, what if that welcome experience is bringing in the culture of the city? And so you also feel welcome to your environment, and you've got, Mardi Gras floats. Maybe everyone's given a bead when they come there, so it's okay, there is a place where I belong. And not only do I physically fit here, I emotionally fit here, and I feel like I belong this week. And then I think looking at the agenda again, where can you put some activity in? So like I said, at the end of the keynote and before the panel, because you know what normally happens, the keynoter does their thing, they get off stage, the little stage hands come up, they put the 4 chairs out. So now you're going to have your moderator and your 3 customers. So in that time when they're doing that, why can't we allow the MC to say, while we do the stage change, I would like for you, like church, to turn around and meet the person next to you, like shake their hand, tell them where you're from, and have a little exchange, so that there's a moment of connection before we go into the panel discussion. So where are the moments that you can put that in without having to redo everything?
Yeah, I like. These are really great ideas. Last year, when we did the London Community Week for the first time, what I did was to invite one of our friends that was actually community builder and also yoga instructor. And we broke, I remember, 1 hour and a half for the lunchtime. It was a big one. So we allow 1 hour to kind of chat and eat. And then after the hour, whoever wants it, come back to the main stage, and she was started a yoga session.
Yeah.
For 20 minutes. So, and people love it. We got, the total audience that year was 130. We got 65 people like stretching arms and jumping and doing funny stuff. So that was kind of, I don't know, one of these 5 points that you mentioned, idea to add emotions and different vibe, So
exactly. I mean, one of the things I love to do is once you're getting toward the end of the day, before that final keynote speaker and that then leads you to the happy hour, is to run a rock, paper, scissors competition and just have everybody in the room stand up and turn to a partner and 1, 2, 3, shoot. And immediately when they lose, they start cheering for the person who won. So you just start paring down. So now you have a room full of people cheering because they all lost, with the few people that are winning, and they're turning and you finally get down to the last 2 people in the room, and the entire room is cheering, and those 2 people do it. And whether you give a prize or not, it just changes the entire energy of the room. So now we sit in, we close out the session, and we go off and had a great time,
Oh, I love this one. I'm going to apply it next year.
I highly recommend it. I love doing it.
This is really good. In Toronto, we did a game with the phone and the screen time.
Ooh.
Like, what's that? Yeah, it's a bit like kind of embarrassing comic idea, right? So we started and say, hey, okay, let's everyone standing and seated. Whoever has 4 hours or less of screen time average, okay, a few seated. Whoever has 6 hours down, then 7 down, and 8 down, and we reached.
That's amazing.
In Toronto was 14 hours the highest.
Wow.
I'm not sure how people do it, but there were 2 people with 14 hours screen time average per day.
That's incredible.
We gave them a gift. Actually, it was one of these things I want to show you. So we gave them an networking cards game.
Perfect.
as the prize, for the embarrassment, kind of. But
that's so great. I love that. There's another one, if you like that game, there's one called Game of Phones that is hilarious. And so it's basically a card game you would play with your friends, where you draw a card and it's like you have to text a friend using only emojis, and the first one to get a response back wins. So it's fun stuff, but it's another one of those great prizes if you're doing something like that. And I will also say, my friend Adrian Seeger has a really great one. He calls it the what's the geographical spectrogram. So you get everybody in the room to stand up, and you just kind of organize the rooms in, and like if it's a US based event, right? Who's from the Northeast, who's from the Northwest, who's from the Southeast, who's from the Southwest, and started getting the people to physically move around and then grouping them more and more. So now you start to find people in your geographic area. So it got them up and moving for a second. It got them
that's
talking.
nice.
And it's real quick, and then they start to recognize, oh, you're near me. How far from Atlanta do you live? And then they go back to the regular session.
Yeah, like these things are really nice engaging games, and the cost is zero.
Exactly.
Like,
and they're
that's a
not
good part.
necessarily like stupid icebreakers that are going to make people feel weird. They're just activities that everyone's doing at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. Oh, so many learnings today. I'm really excited. Okay, let's keep going. Community beyond the event day. So Club Ichi is a year-round community, not just a series of events.
Yep.
How are you seeing B2B companies think about keeping that community feel alive when everyone goes back to their day jobs? What's working versus what's just good intentions?
Well, I mean, I know for years and years and years of being in the events that we talked about it as the valley of engagement. So you've got the hype of the big event that's happening, and then you have an absolute trough of nothingness until the next big event happens. And so how do you keep people engaged? And I think the biggest question that you have to really ask yourself and be truthful about it is, do your people want to engage in between? Because in some instances, the event is the community. And they want to connect with people, and they're going to stay in contact on text message and LinkedIn or WhatsApp or whatever, but they don't actually want to be a part of something all year long. So figure that out first and see if you really need a year-round community. I think if you find that the people from your event are talking to a lot of the other people and are starting to like get together on their own with some of the folks they met, now there might be a reason and a platform to keep things going year round. Mm-hmm. So we have a structure that I love my nomadic devices. So I call it the 5 S's. And it's kind of how you don't have to use all 5 of them, but it's how I think about running a year round community if you're going to do it. So the first S is, well, I'll go through them. It's the show, the site, the series of gatherings, the sounding board, and the shareable moment. And it can be a funnel or it can be a flywheel, and you'll see what I mean. So the show is, what is your top of funnel thing that people outside of the community can listen to or watch to make them feel like they're part of it, or to make them see what's happening. So it's a podcast like this, a newsletter, a TikTok channel, whatever it is that other people can find without having to be inside. The next one is the site. So maybe your community wants an asynchronous communication tool. Maybe they want a Slack channel or a LinkedIn group or a Facebook group or something so that they can stay in touch throughout the year. The next one is that series of gatherings, whether it's online or in person, those moments of connection. And your community could start with the event and become a year round, or it could start with a Slack channel and become an event. So, either way works. It just depends on the culture of what you're building. The next one I call the sounding board. And it's, who are those 5 to 7 people that can be with you for a quarter or for a year, who are your touch points out in the greater community to make sure you're putting the right content out, you're creating the right events. They're like your eyes and ears amongst the community members that are just kind of guiding you and making sure that you're going the right direction. And then the last one is the shareable moment. So what's happening inside the community that your members are excited to share? Are they wearing swag? Are you're seeing your social media posts and sharing them out? Are they creating their own social media posts that you're resharing out, which feeds back into that top of funnel show? Because now you have some user generated content that's getting out there to the masses beyond the people just inside your community. So again, I don't think you have to do all of them. A lot of communities don't have that site, that place for people to connect offline, and that's fine. So it's not that you need them all. It's just figuring out where and how your community should connect.
I love this. I love that you manage everything in frameworks. I like this.
I want to simplify it so that I remember it.
Yeah. I used that kind of acronym idea when I was at the uni studying biology. And
yes, exactly. I still remember kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, because I had it was a wrap in my head.
Yeah, I created one for the phases of like the cells, like proproteanatesi, like prophase, telophase, and all that stuff. So I remember that.
I love
it. I love it. Yes, exactly. For instance, I am also the founder of Dead by Community. Now, this is a community of practice. Mm-hmm. And we have been able to touch ground in 22 cities in the world, different cities in the world. So we are running local chapters. And
Yeah.
I feel that even though we have our Slack community, I would say the real magic happen in the chapters. Like in the Slack,
I
it's true
agree
sometimes.
1,000%. Tell me how you're executing this. Are you going to all of them? Have you anointed chapter leaders? Are you paying them? Are they volunteer? What's your story?
Well, the structure of Live community is, well, we are a non-profit, mission-driven, no?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, all the chapter directors are volunteers. Like they are, most of them, just community professionals. A few are employees of tech brands. A few are consultants,
Mm-hmm.
no? And most of them, they just love build stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we enable them. Like, I have a small team. Like we are 4 people plus me.
Okay.
So what we do is like we enable we do more like a done for you event
Mm-hmm.
chapter. So they say, hey, I got a partner for a venue, so we can run the event there, the meetup free. So what we do for as org, we provide an average 200 USD budget for
Mm-hmm.
a kind of a bit of snack or a bit of drinks or whatever possible, because the meetups are still, well, in a few cities are still small, like 12, 14. New
Beautiful.
York, we have one in New York tomorrow with we got 65 RSVPs already for the New York one.
Yeah.
No, but all of them are volunteers, directors. Like we call them directors, chapter directors, but they
Okay.
are volunteers running meetups. But like the vibe, because also we try to always capture enough photos, so we have a gallery in our website where you
For
can see
sure.
the meetups, and that is the exciting part. On Slack,
Mm-hmm.
it's true. Sometimes someone say, "Hey, what is the best tech for this and that? Hey, how do you do this and that?" Like more like boring stuff. But when we
Mm-hmm.
see the chapters happening, that is the real community vibe. No,
Agreed.
so yeah, and that
Nothing
has
beats
been
in-person hugs.
it's amazing. I love it. Yeah, even when I have a friend in Netherlands, Anna Maria Dorgo. She's no, in the L&D space, but also really amazing community builder. And we were always hanging out on LinkedIn together until in July she finally came to London as a speaker for the London Community Week.
Yeah.
And on LinkedIn she says, "I'm already training my special hug movement," like because we were joking about, "Hey, I want to hug you," like.
Exactly.
So, but I love this scene idea, and I would say in our community of practice has been the driver. Like the
Yeah.
conference, I would say is like kind of the high peak,
Yep.
moment. But then the rest of the year, I would say the meetups are what keep the vibe going.
Yeah,
We
for
started
sure.
also recently chapters in Dubai and Delhi, India,
Mm-hmm.
and also in Barcelona this year.
Wow.
But it's amazing. Like honestly, like 18 people average attending, getting together, learning, having fun. Even in Barcelona, they ended up cooking pizza together. Like
Nice.
instead of buying, they say, "Hey, let's buy stuff and let's prepare the pizza ourselves." I was, oh my
Yes.
gosh, like, no, honestly, I love it. I love it. So, well, let's,
Beautiful.
let's keep going. Let's keep going. I can chat community all day.
Yeah. That's what we're
Uh,
here for.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really, it's what I love. It's what I love. I have I have a follow up on the community events.
Okay.
It's interesting. So for companies trying to build a community through events,
Yeah.
what's the relationship between event format and long term community building?
Mm-mm.
It's a bit of
I mean, I think it is the design of allowing people to connect, because there are many, many conferences that are intended for education or certification, renewal, continuing education, those types of things. And so they are less focused. In fact, we get a lot of conversations around, even in my industry with Club Ichi, they're like, well, I'm part of associations, but I don't feel that community vibe with a lot of them. And I'm like, well, if you look at their mission statement, not one of them has the word community in their mission. They exist for education, certification, and advocacy. And the community forms as a byproduct of it. It's not their intent. Whereas Club Ichi, we are 100% community focused. It's a social club, get people together, and then business falls out of it. So
yeah,
people accidentally learn from each other and they accidentally start doing business with each other. And so we just have the opposite approach. So I think that format of, when you think about those traditional industry events, the format exists to go and learn. Tick the box that you got your 14 hours of continuing education over 3 days, turn that in and get your certification. So if your intent is to build community, you have to change that. You have to, make those moments of connection happen, whether it's through like brain dates or what I like to call the human library. So can people submit what their expertise is and other members can like check them out for 15 minutes? Like what can you do to allow them to connect with each other?
yeah. I think that is an interesting change that can happen in formats for
Mhm.
for like brand community building. Yeah, perfect. That's great. I did my check. Now, on the tech role in real connection. In this topic, sometimes it's a bit tense. No,
Yeah.
you want authentic human connection, but
Yeah.
companies also need tools to facilitate and scale those relationships. From your perspective, how does event technology actually support genuine connection rather than just automate processes? Sorry for
Yeah.
the long question.
No, it's great. And I have a love-hate relationship with tech because I am a huge advocate of all things tech, but I can't even tell you how many people have reached out to me in the last 14 days with their new AI matchmaking app. And I'm like,
Oh,
kill me now. I can't take another AI matchmaking tool. Like I
yeah.
just like what happened to serendipitous connections? What happened to bumping into people in the hallway? What happened to grouping people by their challenges so that there's a human movement to it? But at the same time, the kind of post-COVID world, people somehow become uncomfortable with small talk again, and so the AI matchmaking things are really beneficial for some people. So we're even piloting one at an event that we're coming up with on in December, which it is an AI matchmaking tool. You can opt in to be a part of it, but once you opt in, you give it your phone number and it calls you and it's a female voice, and she's actually interviewing you and asking you questions and finding out truly what you want from the event. And so it's totally automated. You can tell it's a robot interviewing you. You can get annoyed and hang up on it, do whatever. But it's kind of like a fun, novel moment of, oh, did I just like talk to a robot? And now we're going to see what happens and we'll have a moment. So how can we use some of these things and make the experience part of the curiosity and moment of adventure? I think for the most part, the other technology, like you mentioned, automating processes and things like that should be invisible. I think that, if registration technology can be in the background so that you don't notice it, and it is frictionless, but you can now fill that room with humans welcoming you after you get your badge or as you get your badge, so that it's not about like trying to make the tech work, then that's a beautiful way to integrate technology and humanity.
Yeah, I think that is also probably like a heads up that a few extra resources are required to make an event human.
That's
Like
true.
people are trying to remove humans because the tech is cheaper, but I think that to be able to enable this really belonging connection feeling, we actually need more humans on the place rather than less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is your opportunity to tap into those people that are invested in your community, your partners, your sponsors, your board members, your volunteers, your local chapter directors. They do want this community to thrive and grow. And even if they're salespeople and they want business, you just put a hard and fast, no hard pitching, no sales rule. But I would love for you to be a wingman here and make sure that people are connecting with each other. They freaking love that. So I don't think you have to, go it alone. I think there's plenty of opportunity as long as you put those guardrails in.
Yeah, agree on that. For the London community, we got 18 volunteers running the show, plus kind of the core paid team like me, plus 2 people. The rest were all volunteers, and they did wonders. Amazing.
I mean, the social media marketing world is a great example. It's a huge conference that I think it may still take place in San Diego. And if you volunteer to help run the conference with them on site that week, you get free access to go to as many sessions as you can when you're not on duty. And it's a beautiful exchange of people who want to give back to that social media community. And they're a for-profit entity, right? So, but people aren't afraid to volunteer their time because they're getting something in return too. They get to go to this conference, they get to meet those people, and they get to play host and make incredible connections. So I think there's a way to do that and not have to be a nonprofit in order to get people to engage.
Yeah, 100%. I think that we have covered lots today. I have a few minutes to do the final thought. So I wanted to touch on that. Is if someone listening is running traditional large-scale events and wants to test the micro events model, what's the first experiment they should run?
I think start with getting that sounding board. So can you recruit 5 to 7 people together to just do an executive roundtable dinner, go somewhere and actually talk through what the micro event opportunities are and see, whiteboard it out or sticky note it out or have a really great conversation with them and then start piloting it. Because then I think the question is, are you starting with micro events at your annual conference, or are you trying to keep the micro events going throughout the year? Because one opportunity might be to take that large conference that that you have and choose a couple of leaders, sponsors, whoever, to have like a dine around and have those micro event moments with standard things that people are going to do, so they can kind of report back and tell you how it went. And then you can start rolling those out. Well, if these mini think tanks worked really, really well at the conference, let's start doing kind of the city roadshow of those mini think tanks and format them the way that we did at that event. So I think there's a lot of ways to play, but get those 5 to 7 people so that you have their buy-in, and then they can kind of advocate for you and be champions.
Yeah, love it. Yes, we call them in our case community advisory board.
Exactly.
Right, kind of idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay,
they don't have to be for a year. They can just be for a dinner, you know? So I think that putting the time frame on things is just a construct that people put in their minds. I think if you just grab a bunch of folks, hop on a Zoom together even, and just get that feedback. If you've got a conference, do an exhibitor advisory panel. Like, what could the exhibitors do something beyond just the booth space that they have, and what do they want to do to help engage? And then how can they invite their customers to be a part of whatever you're building together?
Yes, I think that is way less scary because the commitment feels low.
Yeah.
And people can, like maybe more people can actually offer help. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, some of the organizations are like, you have a 2-year term on the board. It's like, good God, I don't know what I'm doing next Thursday, much less 2 years from now. I'm not going to say yes to that.
100%. Yeah, I love it. So I have here your website. Well, actually 2 websites. So tell us where about Club Ichi, please. That is the cool community. I want to.
Yeah. Club Ichi is a social club for people in events who do cool shit and like to talk about it. So we really lead with 2 kinds of things, either a crazy shared experience or conversation-based events. So those spontaneous think tanks we run within our community, because everything we do is problem-solving focused. What are you trying to solve? Who's in the room that can connect you or help you solve it? And then the crazy, ridiculous experiences, like we do a barefoot business retreat every year, small group, 20, 25 people. Last year, we chartered a yacht in Croatia and held all of our conference sessions on giant inflatable unicorns. This year, we were in Orlando at a resort called Evermore, and our conference sessions were held in drivable hot tub boats. So on their lake. Yeah. Wow. Things that are like you can talk about, and we do this really crazy thing called the Secret Family Reunion. It's going to be May of 2026, and we tell you what airport to meet us at, bring a passport, pack for 7 days, and then once you get to the airport, we have a big reveal party and tell you where you're actually going. And it's an international trip, so bring a passport, and then you don't find out till the day of travel. And then the whole trip is like this 8-day spontaneous think tank extravaganza.
Oh wow, that's a crazy good. I love it. And then also, if people wants to work with you. So
it originated with the Community Factory, which is our consultancy just to help people create community at their events. That's the intent. So if you've got a conference that you're used to running and you're trying to build more community in it, we can just kind of help you with the engagement plan, the community plan, and then determine if you want to run it year round, kind of give you some recommendations for community as a service. If you don't have someone who can run it, some people that you can hire in to actually run that community for you for kind of fractionally, or just how you want to run it yourself. So it's really just to help people. We actually don't even do so much of this anymore because Club Ichi has kept us hopping. So we really only take on the clients that are really, really awesome and going to be a whole lot of fun to work with, which is a fun thing to say now.
Yeah, of course. Now that you have established on the field, I think that you have the opportunity to choose your clients. So you keep the fun.
Yeah, we just invite people to come join us in Club Ichi and experience it for yourself. And then you can, then we have those conversations with you. If you want to do this for your events, you want to come up with community for your events, then let's talk.
Nice. Liz, it has been a pleasure to chat with you today. I have learned lots. I'm more excited to apply a few of your frameworks on my community now, and my conference as well, all the funny stuff. So yes, again, thank you everyone for attention. And Liz, we are going to add all links to the video in the description. You can always check below on YouTube, and we are going to again say thank you, Liz, for your time today.
Amazing. Thank you. I hope I get invited to one of your community weeks. I want to come.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Bye.